distraction has always been a key component of my life. Ever since I was young, I was in a continual state of distraction. Like I couldn't allow myself to accept what was happening around me. And so I had to generate and create this false reality, which then turned into fantasy as a kid, which then turned into video games. Distraction is a really, really big part of my life still. It's like this place that I go where I don't have any responsibility and I can escape, at least in my mind. And it's a lot more about this escaping than I realized. I do that a lot through video games, all through my youth, man. Just play video games continually, all the time. And I think that's why a lot of people play video games, is we're just trying to be distracted from the world. We're trying to be in a space where we can be accepted for our attributes or what we've gained in the game or how we're successful in the game, or beating the game replaces being able to win at life somehow. It's really painful to admit this, but I have wasted decades of my life, hundreds of hours, probably into the thousands of hours, in a pursuit of distraction. And the saddest thing is there's moments in my life where I know what I'm doing and I couldn't stop escaping. All through my 20s and 30s, continual distraction all the time, to the point where that was the only thing that mattered, was being distracted, not being present, not being seen, not connecting, simply being distracted. One of the worst offenders for me was League of Legends. I loved that game. I loved everything about it. I felt like I was playing sports again. You know, when I crashed my car when I was 18, I didn't get the ability to really play sports again, because they told me, hey, you twist up that leg, you're going to be mangled for the rest of your life. You won't be able to walk right. You won't be able to run. And so that completely ended sports for me. Loved playing soccer. I loved running, loved rock climbing. And all that ended. It was it. Just done. And so it wasn't until I played League of Legends where I really felt like I was on a team and I was connected. It was crazy. It was like I was playing soccer again. That's why I love playing sports, was being on a team. And I got so into that game and so distracted by it. I mean, it was continual distraction, escapism. Really, that came down to this reality of me wanting approval and acceptance through my performance in a video game, which sounds so weak coming out of my mouth, but that's how I was in my 20s and 30s. I pursued distraction continually, relentlessly, trying to escape, until I decided to ask myself, why am I escaping? Why do I watch every Bourne movie, from the first one to the last one, straight through? What am I doing? Why am I trying to escape reality? Why am I watching the same movie over and over again? Why am I connecting to these things? And ultimately, I figured out that it's because distraction is what kept me safe. And so still as an adult, this kid that was just brutalized as a child, still as an adult was trying to distract, to escape reality and protect himself. I didn't have a lot of grace for myself at that period of time in my life. At that period of time, I was really angry at myself with how much time I've wasted. What I didn't understand is what I was really doing was giving that part of myself space to be able to grow up. And it wasn't the best option, playing 8 hours of League of Legends straight. That's not the best option. It's a terrible option. I wish I had better options at the time, but I was nowhere near a mentally healthy person back in my 20s. Not even close. I was a mangled, messed up human being who was chasing the wind in all these different places and never able to catch it, man. Which is so sad. I look at that time of my life and I'm just shocked by the truth of it. The feeling like, whoa, there goes a decade of my life. And what I remember is snippets of video games and some transient relationships I had in there and some other people I really was close with. It makes me feel sad, really sad, and regret spending my time on things that didn't produce any value in my life at any period whatsoever at all. I think that's the worst part of being distracted is after the stream is done or watching the Netflix or playing the video game or whatever is done, what you have to face briefly for that brief period of time before you fall asleep is who you are. And if you would have just faced that instead of doing the binge on entertainment or video games or whatever it is, you discover yourself. At least that's what happened to me. I still play video games from time to time. I do my best to just limit it to hanging out with my brother. Sometimes I play board games here and there. But it's when I'm escaping something that I realize that this behavior is really unhealthy for me. And I have to ask myself the questions, what am I being distracted from? What am I looking for? What am I trying to find? And almost 100% of the time it's comfort in escaping instead of connecting. And distraction and escaping is the counterfeit to human connection. It's the counterfeit. Watching 8 hours of movies is the counterfeit to human connection. I'm connecting to fantasy in a way where I don't have to have any responsibility. It's something that really has plagued me in my life. And it all started back when I was a kid. I can still see the box. You know, I can go right back to that living room in the trailer park when I'm very young. And I could see my mom just consuming this rectangular box. And I didn't understand what that box meant, but it certainly has taken a lot of my life from me. It's taken a lot of my time from me. It's made me regret a lot. It really has. It's made me want to do so many things in my life that are left unfinished because it's way easier to pull up a video game and win than it is to actually accomplish something in life. And I think there's an epidemic of this, to be honest, in society and in kids these days and people. This epidemic of distraction, chasing the wind, the next level, this, that, whatever it is. It's like you can't be yourself in the real world and accomplish. And so I'm going to go accomplish something in a fake world, in a fantasy world, where I can matter and I can be important and I can be something. And ultimately people give up their entire lives for that. When in truth, if you'd but open up the curtain of your soul and look inside and say, what do I really need here? I really need to connect to human beings. I really need to be in community. I need to find something I can be in community with. I'm telling you, it's beautiful and it's out there. And there are people that would love to be your friend in the real world instead of the fantasy world. Because in the real world is where things get done. In the fantasy world, unless you're the 0.0001% of people that can actually make a living off of Fantasyland video game entertainment thing, I'm pretty positive all you're doing is you are selling your life force, the energy of your life in your years to human beings that are never going to know your name and don't care about you. That's what these game developers are. And I love games. I'm not knocking them. But what I'm saying is this living online thing, this living continually in distraction thing, this continual escapism is selling the time of your life to avoid dealing with what's going on in your life. And that sucks. That's what I did. That's what I did for so many years. I was distracted, lost in this fantasy land of video games and entertainment. When in reality, what I really wanted to do is for people to truly know me. But I didn't know how to connect. I didn't know who to connect to. I'd been damaged and wounded so bad that it's like in the fantasy world, I can escape and I can be somebody else. It seems to me that that's really the essence of what I've been trying to do my whole life, is be somebody else instead of me. And I know that there are millions of people out there that have done the exact same thing. And I want you to know your life is worth more than that. Way more than that, man. It's worth so much more than that. The continual pursuit of entertainment and distraction from oneself. The abandonment of the avatar of your soul. That's what we do in modern society, is find ways to fit in where I don't have to be myself. I can fit in through this video game. I can fit in through this Reddit group. I can fit in through the gear page. I can fit in through whatever it is, where people can only see the best of you. They don't actually get to see and get to know you. They get to know the false self that you present so that you don't get disapproved of and you don't get abandoned. That's who people get to know. And it's sad. It's so sad because there's so much more to you and to life than you can ever imagine. But finding yourself in this distracted space with video games and entertainment, I wish I could shake myself from 20 years ago and say, you are taking your very life and throwing it away. Entertainment has its place. Video games, board games, all that stuff. It has its place in community, not in isolation. That's the biggest thing distraction did, was isolate me from community. Isolate me from connection. It gave me this false sense of connection through people I've never met and never actually had any reasonably worthwhile conversation with, so that I didn't have to really see me in the mirror. And if this is speaking to you, you gotta know, man, that there are people in this life that will find you valuable and important, and they want to know you. And the more time you spend in fantasy, the less time they'll ever get, and the less chances you'll ever get to truly meet the people you're supposed to walk this life with. It's not worth it. Find community, find connection in real life, not in fantasy land.